Okay, loan repayment tables make it easy to calculate the repayments for a reducing balance loan. That's pretty much how all loans work. There are lots of different types of tables and we read them all a little bit differently. They allow us to calculate what the repayment will be depending on what I borrow, what the term is and what the interest rate is. There is no one type of table. We're going to look at two different tables in my examples. I think your book has about 3 or 4 different types. They are pretty self-explanatory on how to use them. They will generally tell you what the amount you've borrowed, what the term is and what the interest rate is, and you just find that number that tells me what the repayment will be for that amount borrowed. Some of them tell you the amount that you would have to repay if you only borrowed $1,000. So of course if I borrowed $15,000, I would have to make my repayment 15 times bigger. Some of them though just tell you exactly what the repayment will be for what you borrowed and there's no multiplication required, it's just reading the table carefully. Okay? Are we good to go to the next page? No. Okay. So the first table we're going to look at is one that tells me what I would repay if I borrowed $1,000. If I'm buying a house, for example, though, it's not going to cost me $1,000. It might cost me $480,000. It's going to cost me a lot more. So whatever value I get from the table, I would have to times by, for example, 480. Are we ready now? You guys need to write faster.
You need to just
Me? I'm just going too fast, am I? Just chill. Okay.
Now you do.
I'm sick of writing. Alright, so this is,
I've written them forward.
that's okay, Tim, I'll put it back up for you.
I like you, Tim. Oh, well done.
This table here says what happens per $1,000 borrowed. So for example, if I borrowed it for 5 years at 5%, then I would have to pay that every month. Okay? But if I borrowed $2,000, I have to pay twice as much. In this second type of table, these numbers here are what the repayments are for different principals. So for example, if I borrowed $90,000 for 16 years, then that's the exact amount I would pay every month. Okay? So 2 simple examples. First one, I'm going to borrow $480,000 at 7% interest over 25 years. I'm going to find 2 things, the monthly repayment and the total. So 7% are 480,000. This one's not going to help. Doesn't have 480,000. So I'm going to have to use this one. So I'm going 7%, and it was over 25 years, which gives me this number here. So I have to pay $707 every month if I borrowed $1,000. But I borrowed $480,000. What's that?
The table says term in years, so why is it month?
Okay, it's monthly repayments when I'm paying it off over 25 years.
So the top of the classifications in years, but not the actual data.
Yes. Okay, so you've got to be really careful that you get it using the right information. So it's 7%, 25 years, but this is my monthly repayment. Okay, so my monthly repayment would be $707 if I borrowed $1,000. But I borrowed $480,000. That will give me the repayment that I have to make every month. 7.07.
Yes.
Which gives me a fair bit of money. Okay, so I have to come up with $3,393.60 every month to pay back this loan. Then it says, find the total interest I pay. Now, if I'm going to work out the total interest, I need to know the total amount of money I pay. I'm going to pay that every month for 25 years.
Yeah, 25 times.
Okay, so I'm going to do this number times 12 times 25. So the calculator times 12 times 25. So I'm going to pay, over the 25 years, I'm paying $1,018,080. Okay, so 25 years, that's what I'm going to pay.
$1 million.
How much interest did I pay?
A lot.
Lots.
A
525.
truckload of cash. Make more interesting after. What's the
What was it? 500 and...
538,000.
538,000.
Be stupid.
Oops, that's not Oops. Okay, so basically what you can see when you borrow a lot of money and you pay it off over 25 years, you end up paying more than double for your house. Okay, unfortunately, 7% is not an unrealistic, I mean the rates are a little bit lower than that. It's not an unrealistic model of the real world.
Is that 0.80 up there as well?
No, and that's not a 0.8 there.
Okay.
There's still a dot there. Okay, got this. Okay, pretend that dot is not there,
But it is.
but it's not.
Hot dog.
I'm a realist, so you gotta go with
Okay, just live with it. Alright, second example. This time we're borrowing 70,000, 17 years. So we're going to use this table because we've got a 70,000 in here and a 17 years. The other table didn't have a 17 years, it just had multiples of 5. Which is going to give me this number here. That's it. That's the answer. Okay, so
That's the
6.
answer.
Yeah,
Nah, sure.
Per month.
that just tells me what I pay every month.
It's pretty cool.
Done. How cool is that? There is no need to multiply to work out how many, because it is the exact number from the table. So
how many
I
different
would
tables
pay.
12.
In the book, I think they give you about 4 different ones.
And
In a test, they'll give you whichever one is relevant to your question.
So that's not that hard.
It's actually not that bad, is it? Okay? So the tricky kind of question is where they say, not just what's the monthly payment, but let's work out what you paid all together and then start working out interest. Okay? That's really all there is involved in loan tables. I don't think you're going to find it too hard. Questions. We're going to look at, I wrote it down, which questions? I think it was 1, 3, 4 and 7 I wanted you to do. I wrote it down, what was it? Yeah, 1, 3, 4 and 7 of exercise 108. 1, 3, 4, 7. Let's get started. Do you want me to go back to the notes for you, Tim?
No, it's alright, I got them.
You got it? Okay, question 1, 3, 4 and 7. Let's go.
108.
Yeah.